Catherine, what can we expect from a Republican tax reform plan? Oh, aren't you glad you got that question?
Wow.
Hey, I write a lot about taxes.
Yeah, you could take that home.
I could.
Really?
I
That's
could
your thing?
Yeah, I write a lot about taxes.
Okay,
actually.
then give it to us.
Well, first of all, it's not going to be tax reform. It's going to be tax cuts, and there's a big difference. One is, about closing loopholes and making sure that it's paid for, and the other one is just about a big giveaway to the rich. And if anything, that's what we'll see. The problem is that there are all of these.
Once again, my point that Trump is not that different.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like we hadn't heard that before Trump arrived.
It's not as easy as just cutting taxes across the board, because there are a lot of these like bells and whistles in how the Senate works that makes it actually very difficult to not have a paid-for tax cut. So that's really going to be the challenge, is fitting the puzzle pieces together. And every single thing you would need to do to pay for it is really unpopular.
In this video today, we're diving headfirst into the political circus that was over time with Bill Maher. This episode had it all: Trump's insult Olympics, the slow death of tax reform, and a panel of pundits trying to make sense of a president who governs like he's Liv, tweeting a we match. From nuking the Iran deal, to cozying up with Pelosi, to allegedly being more frustrated about his sex life than healthcare policy, this was less political strategy and more late-night stand-up with nukes on standby. So grab your popcorn, because we're breaking down how Trump's chaos isn't just tolerated. It's the feature presentation. Let's get into it.
Right. I mean, to take away the mortgage deduction, is that ever going to happen in America?
No, or state and local, or things like the
right.
border adjustment tax, which nobody even remembers anymore, but that was supposed to be a big windfall. There were a lot of things that were supposed to help pay for this, including actually repealing Obamacare. Part of the reason why they've been so gung-ho about repealing Obamacare is because that includes tax increases in it. And if you bundle all of that with the Obamacare repeal rather than into the separate bill, which
Obamacare
is
is not putting us into the red.
No.
No, it's actually making a little money because,
Yes.
it was a redistribution of income. When they accused him of that, he should have said, yeah, fuck yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're doing. We're taking money from people who will never miss it and giving it to poor people who desperately need it.
Who need health care.
Right.
From Catherine Rample's perspective, this critique of the Republican tax plan would likely land as both predictable and deeply frustrating. As a columnist who has consistently dissected fiscal policy with a sharp eye for class implications and economic reality, Rample would likely highlight the dishonesty embedded in branding this as tax reform. In her view, reform implies a responsible restructuring of the tax code, simplifying it, closing loopholes, broadening the base, and ideally improving long-term fiscal sustainability. What's being proposed instead, as the panel correctly points out, is nothing of the sort. She would probably double down on the idea that this isn't merely political sleight of hand. It's economic sabotage dressed up in populist rhetoric. Rample frequently emphasizes how Republican tax policies disproportionately benefit the wealthy while being sold as relief for the middle class. She'd likely point out how these so-called reforms often worsen inequality, balloon deficits, and ultimately pave the way for future austerity measures, ironically targeting the very working-class voters the GOP claims to champion. Rample might also note that the political toxicity around real tax reform, like eliminating popular deductions such as mortgage interest and SALT, makes meaningful change nearly impossible. Instead, politicians default to the easiest path. Across the board rate cuts that overwhelmingly help the rich, with vague promises of growth and trickle down magic that never quite materialize. Catherine Rample would argue that the Jube tax plan isn't just bad economics. It's bad faith policymaking, where the winners are predetermined, the numbers don't add up, and the public is left holding the bill while being told it's a gift.
Bob, what were your thoughts on Jamil Hill, the ESPN host who criticized Trump on Twitter? Right, she called him a white supremacist.
Yeah, I don't know Jamil Hill. I hear good things about her, but my thought is this. She has a program every night on ESPN. She has a platform.
Right.
What she did was inelegant. Whether you more or less agree with it or not, it's inelegant. It's not a good way to make a point. Being on Twitter and going back and forth with people on Twitter, long before it was ever invented, George Bernard Shaw said, do not wrestle with a pig. You get dirty and the pig enjoys it. If you're a bold-faced name if you're a bold-faced name, why do you want to be engaged with some dope on Twitter because he said something and you come back at him and back and forth, back and forth? She should go on her own.
Wait. He's the president, and he.
No, she wasn't responding to him.
Well, she called him a white supremacist.
No, I understand, but she should, if she wants to make her point, she should go on her own program and make a fulsome, textured, nuanced point.
But
Except that her program is.
No, I get that.
The list of people he's
But
called
Bob,
racists
I
are
get that. I don't agree with that. But first of all, her program is on ESPN. It's a sports show.
Yeah.
It would be completely out of place for her to, say.
Not really, because they talk about.
Do you think
they talk about
Syndergaard's going to come
issues.
back next year? Oh, and then our next topic is
Good Met
Trump.
reference.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Is Trump a white supremacist? But Twitter is the appropriate. She's a human being. She's a citizen. Why can't she say her? I just hate this idea that nobody can say anything without somebody wanting them to go away because they disagree.
No, I'm with you 100% on that. I just think that she could have chosen a better way to make her point,
Bob,
and that way is available to her.
Accusing someone of treating Trump inelegantly is like saying someone was silly about the Three Stooges.
All right, let's break this one down, because the Gemma Hill debate isn't just about a tweet. It's a full-blown collision between free speech, media hypocrisy, and the double standards that define our cultural battleground. So here's the deal. Gemma Hill, ESPN host, tweets that Donald Trump is a white supremacist. Cue the pearl clutching. Suddenly, the very people who treat Twitter like a war zone of hot takes are crying foul. But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't about decorum or professionalism. It's about who gets to speak truth to power without getting slapped down for it. Now, some folks on the panel called Hill's comments inelegant. Yeah. Well, guess what? Elegance went out the window the moment a reality TV star started tweeting policy between golf swings and fast food binges. Since when did we demand poetic restraint from citizens calling out bigotry? And let's be real. If Hill had said something in support of Trump or echoed a right-wing talking point, you think the outrage machine would kick in the same way? Please. This is the same country where political pundits with zero journalistic training get prime-time slots for yelling nonsense. But a black woman calling out racism, that's where the line gets drawn. No, this isn't about tone. It's about territory. Gemma Hill stepped into the political arena from the wrong side of the media tracks. And suddenly, the rules changed. She wasn't just a sports anchor anymore. She was a threat to the fragile facade of political neutrality that only ever seems to apply when minorities speak out. She has every right to say what she said. And if the First Amendment only protects speech that's polite, convenient, and corporate approved, then it's not worth the paper it's printed on. Gemma didn't break the rules. She exposed them.
Barney, what do you make of Trump's efforts at bipartisanship? Oh, with Chuck and Nancy. What do you think about that?
Actually, I think it reflects the fact that he doesn't mind if the Democrats take over, and he might even like that. I believe this is a man who cares only about himself and his ego, accomplishments without substance. I mean, the thing about him is that he talks about accomplishments. And again, on the health care bill, every version of the health care bill has been different than every other version. There was no consistency to any program on health care. It's just, we got to beat those guys. I think he's getting frustrated that he's getting some tarnish because of the Republicans' inability to deliver. And I think what he's done with Chuck and Nancy, I think helps the Democrats. And I think he doesn't mind that.
I could see him switching parties and his followers going.
No, I think what he already did. No, I'd
right,
say,
exactly. He
no,
did.
I don't think he wants. He doesn't want a party.
Right.
He doesn't want a party.
Right.
He doesn't want to be blamed for the Republicans. And I think the other thing is this. I'll tell you what I believe about the guy. He's among other things lazy.
Yeah.
He's not just. And here's the deal. Yeah. Agreeing with Schumer and Pelosi meant no hassle about the debt limit being raised. No hassle about the budget. He can go off for a couple of weeks at Christmas. It means he doesn't have to spend his Christmas with all that agita over there.
I don't even think he was thinking that far ahead. I think he was just sick of talking about it.
Yeah, but I would say, but he
And there's something else about Trump that has to be said.
He wanted to say get it done. But if someone did say to him, "You're going to help the Democrats win," I think the answer in the back of his mind is, "Well, that wouldn't be so bad, because then I'll run in 2020 as the victim of all these bad people."
Yeah.
And I don't think he's from this planet. And I don't, because
I'm glad someone is making that
think
point.
About it.
In the end, the tone and style of this episode perfectly capture the political theater of the Trump era. Equal parts farce and fury.
With biting sarcasm and rapid-fire jokes, Maher and his panel peel back the layers of Trump's image to reveal a leader driven more by ego than execution, more performance than policy. It's a roast disguised as a roundtable, where laughter becomes a coping mechanism for the absurdity of modern governance. And while the jokes fly fast, the underlying message is deadly serious. When spectacle replaces substance, the cost isn't just credibility, it's the country itself. Thanks for watching, folks. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more no-nonsense, sharp-edged political commentary with a side of sarcasm, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. Until next time, stay informed, stay bold, and stay loud.